Assalamu alaikum. Peace to the gods, peace to the earths, and all of the righteous families of the planet. It's your big brother Fahiym back once again. Another little CLR rule bill. This right here is just a little short bill because I just want to kind of take it from where I left off from before with part one of what are some of the telltale signs that you may be following a religion. I just want to, build or add on to that, you know what I'm saying? But I got two other points that I want to mention that can be possible signs that you might be trapped off in a religion and don't even know it. Number one is a lack of youth. A lack of youth and a lack of youth leadership in an organization is one of the telltale signs that this organization might be on some religious-ish, possibly. In the scriptures, in the Bible, Jesus says, "Blessed are the children, for in them is the kingdom of God. Blessed ye are the children, for in them is the kingdom of heaven." In another part, he says, "I thank thee, Father in heaven, for revealing these things, for keeping these things, hidden from the wise and the prudent men, and revealing them unto babes." He told Nicodemus once, you got to be as a child. If you want to be born again, as the Christians teach, you have to be as a child. Nicodemus thought, "What you mean? What, like go back in our mother's womb and be born, like physically born again? Like what do you mean? He was like, no, Jesus was explaining to him that your mentality has to become as a child. Of course, this now is speaking to even adults with becoming as a child in order to gain an understanding of something or grasp a concept of something. But it's giving you the idea that a child is someone who their brain is like, their mind is like a sponge. It's just soaking everything up. Everything that they hear is being soaked in. And they haven't heard all of the crazy doctrines and teachings and pseudoscience and the falsehood mixed in with truth. They haven't heard any of that yet. So when you give them truth out the gate, they tend to absorb that and, give back great potential, from what they've learned. So children are very important in any movement or organization. The white man has a focus on black youth. If you don't believe me, you can turn on some of the children's shows, some of the kids' cartoons, watch Nick at Night, watch, some of those. You'll be surprised at some of the subtle messages that are being, programmed into our children's minds. Very subtle. Like I mentioned once before in the Bible, the serpent in the book of Genesis started off as such, a serpent. Something that's small, wasn't big. But later on, by the book of Revelation, this serpent is now a dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, and it's engulfed the whole planet. So we see how wickedness starts off little, subtle. As the Quran says, they make subtle suggestions. The whisperer is spoken of, in your ear telling you things, making evil suggestions. You see what I'm saying? This is what the television or the TV, the television, this is what it does. This is why it's not good to have your children watching too much children's programs, even the ones teaching them phonics or whatever. Sometimes even those aren't good. You have to be mindful of what, kids are being taught nowadays. So in any organization, whether it be a church, a mosque, or just any organization, street organization. There should be an abundance of youth. Youth should be at the door, doing security. Youth should be, teaching. Youth, if it's a school, the youth should be, the principal should be someone that's at least under 25 years old, under 21 years old. The students in there are 13, 14, 10, 11. Youth. We're supposed to be seeing youth. This is what the white man fears. When the white man sees an organization with youth, the white man knows, yeah, we got to deal with this here because, the buck don't just stop. When you see an organization or a group of just mad old people hanging around, praising God and praising whoever, the Father, whoever, Jesus Christ, whoever they praising. Whenever you see that, in most cases, the organization is in ruin, is dying. Old people symbolize death, in some instances. Old people also symbolize wisdom as well. But when we see old, decrepit people who are still confused in a lot of things that they are teaching or trying to inculcate to the youth, a lot of times that nation is dead. That organization is dead. That movement is dead. The white man doesn't fear that no more. It puts no fear in his heart. When you see a whole bunch of Bloods or Crips running around that's old, 50, 60, 70, banging, throwing up their B's and C's, and that don't put no fear in his heart. But when he sees the youth, when he sees the young, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, we got to do, that puts a little, because this is something that is not going to go away overnight. These are young people, and they're going to carry this movement on. And more young people are going to become involved in this movement. So any organization that is full of old people could halfway walk around, no teeth halfway in their mouth, health look bad, eyes look all yellow and crazy, skin look all blotched and bleached out or whatever, like they were alcoholics or drug heads their whole lives. If you see a religion or people trapped off in any type of movement or organization like that, you could be following a religion and not even know it. There should be an abundance of youth in that movement, in controlling that movement. One of the second things that are, just over time, studying and stuff and individual psychology of human beings. As a 5%er, we got to become master psychologists. Master Fard Muhammad was a master psychologist. Remember the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said before he made himself known in 1930, in July 1930, before he made himself known, he had to study. He was over here studying. He was over here 20 years prior to that studying the white man's mentality. Studying the Negro mentality and the so-called conscious organizations and movements in the hoods that were formulating during that time. Garvey's movement, the UNIA, United Negro Improvement Association, he had to study certain organizations to see what they were dealing with, what they were teaching so that he could formulate something to teach or to help us, to make us better. So as scientists, this is what we do. We study the psychology and the thinking of people. This is how history is written, as we're taught. But one of the second things that you might want to be mindful of, and be careful and look out for is if you're in a movement or an organization or a religion, a religious practice or whatever the case may be, and there's no growth. There's no growth. You could be following a religion. That nation is stagnant. The movement hasn't grown in decades. It's been 10, 20, 30 years. The movement hasn't grown. The membership hasn't really grown, and not just grown with older people, but with youth. You want to see new members being added onto that. That's important. A movement that's stagnated, not moving, or moving and creeping, you could be following a religion. You could be following a mystery god. Brother gave a beautiful example. One of my Muslim god brothers, Brother Maliki Fard, the god Maliki Fard, peace to the God too. He gave a beautiful example. He was like, yo, I had to think about that when the brother said that. He was like, we say the Sunni Muslims, we always getting at them and, saying they worship a mystery god and stuff like that. And, but shit, they take over blocks. They take over communities in New York, down here in Texas, in Houston, Texas. The Sunni Muslims got whole areas that it may start off with just one little school, one little madrasa or one little, masjid or mosque. But next thing you know, they got the whole plaza. They got the whole, this one's a restaurant now. This one's a bookstore. This one's a, whatever, miscellaneous store that just sells different items or whatever, Islamic, items and stuff like that. They doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're controlling. They're showing at least some form of, they have power. You see what I'm saying? Not in all cases. Don't get me wrong. Not in all cases, but in some cases. In fact, in most cases, I would even say, the brother gave the example of in Philly, the Sunni Muslim brothers in Philly, and we say they worship, they praising the mystery god. They look at Allah as a spook and a spirit that can't be seen with the physical eye. But look at how they've grown in numbers. Look at that. Maybe we can learn something from them. Maybe we can learn something from the so-called Jews. We like to get at them and, they the so-called Jews and this and that. But look how they've grown. Look, just look. They make up a small percentage of the population, but look at the great movements that they've made in running nations and governments. Hell, they run New York. What Jesse Jackson called it once, Jew York or Jaime Town. He referred to in Brooklyn, Crown Heights, Brooklyn, and I remember one time he just said the whole New York was, and, they got on him about that, the ADL and the some of the other so-called Jewish organizations or whatever, they jumped on him, made him recant his words and apologize or whatever. But look at their power. You say something disrespectful. You say something that's not even disrespectful. You say something that's just insensitive to their plight or what they got going on. They'll make you get down, bow down, nigga, and say you sorry. That's power. So they're showing forth power. We have a lot of organizations and movements, where's the growth? Where's the development? Where's the growth and development? Where's it at? We got one little building or one little spot right here that our leader left for us 30, 40, 50 years ago, and when we should have that whole block and added on to it. Where's the builders at in your nation? Where's the electricians? Where's the plumbers? Where they at? Every organization, vocational skills are needed in nation building. Just like the white collar jobs are needed, doctor, lawyer, stuff like that. Well, the blue collar trades are needed as well. We need plumbers, we need mechanics. We need diesel mechanics. We need, we need electricians. We need people like that to build. Where is it at? We should have built on years ago to what our leaders left for us. I give Minister Farrakhan great credit. Despite what people may say about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he's grown the nation bigger than Elijah Muhammad as far as supporters and members. You know, we got Mexican ministers now speaking in Assalamu alaikum, and they saying it in Spanish, and Paz y bendición, instead of saying, peace and blessings, they know they you know what I mean? This is growth. We look in the UK, the United Kingdom, ministers over there, Minister Hillary and some of them brothers over there, following the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, all throughout the Caribbean and all, that's growth. Paying off all debts, whatever debts the Nation of Islam had. Minister Farrakhan, I forgot what video that was where he burned them right there in Mosque Maryam. Paid them off and then burnt the right there so you can see. We have no more debt. Muhammad's University of Islam has grown. Things have grown. This is an organization that has life. That don't look like no religion to me when it's growing. In the youth. Minister Farrakhan today, 80-something years old, but yet the youth are still attracted to him. If rappers have a beef, who you think they call? Minister Farrakhan is the first on the list. No, T.D. Jakes or, Creflo Dollar. Nah, no. We want Minister Farrakhan to come and deal with this situation or sit down with us and that don't look like no religion to me. That looks like real, nation building, culture being built right in your face. That's what that looks like to me. But if the nation would have just been the same little old Mosque Maryam that the messenger left, like everything the messenger left is pretty much the same thing the Nation of Islam has now. And we've even lost some of what, was left to us. That might be a religion. Could be following a religion. So those are just two things real quick, family. You definitely want to know that if you're in a movement or an organization or any type of, religious, whatever. I ain't gonna say religious because, of course, we're trying not to be religious, but I'm just gonna say whatever organization you're a part of, you need to look for the youth. It should be young, vibrant youth controlling stuff. That's what should be the heading in the movement that's spearheading that organization, youth. And number two, where's the growth and development? What have you guys done in the last 10, 15, 20 years? Hell, do you even have a projection for the next 10, 15, 20 years? Some organizations can't even look that far. But yet we believe that, Allah God thinks ahead of time and can write history 25,000 years in advance. We teach and believe, or say we believe and know that, but, we don't display that. You see? So at the end of the day, family, I don't want to keep it too long, just as a scientist and studying civilization, studying the black man's mind, his mentality, the black nation as a whole. A lot of what's going on right now, it's a lot of religious people out there. And they swear up and down they do not mess with religion. They do not do religion. But they do religion and they just don't even know it. They're just so religious and they don't even know it. But anyway, family, short bill. I'm working on some presentations to bring to you, inshallah, very soon in the very near future. So just stay tuned. The M.G.C network. It's your big brother Fahiym, a.k.a. Daysun Allah. Peace to the gods, peace to the earths, and all righteous families of the planet. I leave you as I came in the greeting words of peace. We said in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. Peace to the gods.